Peace and blessings. This is your brother Gabar coming to you live. This is IAMFITPodcast. Thank you for having me and having us. Today we're going to be having a serious conversation. My guest today is Miss Leila Wills. She is an activist, a fighter, fighting for the rights of kids for many years. I met her a few years back. We worked together when I was with GOCC doing a protest. And she's here today. She doesn't have a lot of time because I know she's running around getting ready for this protest in 2 weeks. So without further ado, let's bring in Ms. Leila. What's going on?
Hey, Brother Gabar. Thanks so much for having me.
No, thank you for, I know you're busy. We've been talking, and you're getting ready for a big event on the 27th. So I wanted to come in. I say, hey, listen, it's coming tomorrow. Let's promote this event because it's extremely important. And for those that don't remember, Leila, we connected about what? We're going back to maybe 4 years ago now. Maybe 3, maybe 4, 2018. That sounds,
I was like, maybe it's 5 years.
Maybe 5, yeah. Time flies. Yeah. And, I don't remember who connected who and how that connection happened. I think somebody connected me to you. We began to talk, and then at that time you was looking to launch a very controversial documentary called Trapping the Culture. And it was specifically dealing with child molestation within the hip-hop community, specifically within the Zulu Nation, Africa, Bambaataa, and all those characters. And there's always rumors about Africa, Bambaataa, liking young boys or being gay or what's going on with him. And that was always known. I remember because I grew up not too far from Bronx River, Stratford, Boynton. So it was always rumored, but it was never solidified, at least in my eyes. But when I met you and you brought in all those receipts and all those testimonies and all those brave souls that say, yeah, I saw this happened to me. And I said, you know what? Once I heard your struggle and I realized, okay, here's a young woman by yourself, I think, trying to put this documentary. And, my brother's done documentary in the past, and I know how hard is it.
Uh-oh. If we're frozen, I'll just turn off my camera, and then it'll come back on.
You'll go back.
If I can't hear you, if you can hear me.
I could hear you.
Sorry.
Are you frozen? Because let's see here.
Okay, I think we're back.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, sometimes today I've been on back-to-back Zooms, so it may and I just have to turn off my camera until it comes back. Okay,
yeah, live television, we used to it. It's expect the unexpected, right? It's predictably unpredictable, right? But I want to kind of set the stage because we met, like I said, going back to like almost 5 years now, and I immediately said, you know what, I could see why this woman is brave. I could say, okay, the demographic that she's dealing with is a male-dominated, culture in regards of, hip hop. The Zulu Nations is an organization that's always been associated with many things, right? They do good for the community, but there's always been a criminal element to it, and there's always been, always rumors and things you hear and things of that nature. So I know I could see that. Anybody taking them on, need a backbone, and more importantly, anybody who's taking them on, being a female, I could probably see is twice as hard, right? So I felt, you know what, let me help this sister out. And at that time, I was with the church. I called the elder Ricard, to his credit. He said, you know what, that's a good idea. Let's do this protest, and let's take the people back. Let's take the people back because people need to see. What we did with your help and your connections. I want to play this video for the audience. Let's see here because I also want Okay, give me 2 seconds. Let me, because I want also to set up. Where are you? Okay, the Zoom is here. Let me set this thing up real quick for the people to see, because I want the people to see it and understand all the hard work that was put into this, because it's one of these things that people get credit for a lot of things in society, but people that are doing God's work and doing good work sometimes don't get credit and attention. And I believe that you deserve some attention. You deserve some support. And it's sad that a woman has to take on this mantle with all these men running around. So I give credit where credit is due. But I want to play this video for the folks. This is going back to 2018. This is an SOB. Shout out to the GOCC family that I was with at that time. They came in and drove. They came in from not only New York, but Philadelphia. Some people even as far as came from Texas, North Carolina, Atlanta. So we would definitely show support and so forth. So let's go back to Memory Lane real quick.
Every single time this man has a show, has a performance, we're going to be in front of that venue telling them, shame on you. Shame on you.
And this was later that night. We was there when the sun was up, and we was there until the sun was down. And then SOB had an event that day. They had an event that day, and African Bambaataa, through your hard work and your connection, you were able to find out he's in town. He's going to be performing that night, and we put pressure on SOB to cancel his show, and they did, to their credit, right?
Yes, they did.
We pulled him off. It wasn't our show. It was an outside promoter. We pulled him off within 24 hours. That's right. Am I willing to admit that something fell within the cracks? Yes. But we did pull him off the bill 24 hours. That was 2 months ago. Okay. That's my statement. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Peter. Thank you for doing the right thing.
We do support your right to protest. Absolutely.
Thank you, Brother Peter. Thank you.
Yeah, Peter was definitely a brave man, and he stood up and he did the right thing. And that's what we're trying to repeat to under 27. So we're calling all men, all women, all brave men, all brave women to stand up and meet us at downtown Manhattan, 260 Broadway. Okay, Leila, give us the details. Talk to us. What's going on? What's the latest with your struggle, bringing awareness to these victims, or about these victims?
So let's start with, we've always had a contingency of people fighting and helping, and even if it was behind the scenes, and the survivors. I wouldn't be able to do anything without the information that I get from inside people and people from the outside. So in case your audience doesn't know, there was an anonymous man who filed a lawsuit in 2021 against Africa Bambaataa and the Zulu Nation. Okay. The lawsuit is filed by, so he's anonymous, so it's John Doe, and it is alleging, like when he filed this lawsuit, it was worse than even what we had already found out. It was for child sex trafficking, and that Bambaataa was involved with a child sex trafficking ring in Bronx River. So this is 2 years ago. So it was super horrific. I don't know anybody who knew about it. So since then, once John Doe filed his lawsuit, we kind of started to kind of thing, right?
Okay.
Let it go through the courts. Let it, we don't, now that it's in court, at least it's not criminal, it's civil,
Right.
but we don't want to aggravate the situation. So we were just, I released the footage that I had, that I did for Trapped in the Culture. You know how hard of a struggle doing that film was.
Yeah.
And everybody else had moved on. And I said, well, I'm going to move on too, but let me at least put these interviews out so the public would have the information. So everything kind of got ramped up all
Yeah.
over again
Yeah.
2 years ago. But once he filed suit, then, we were kind of quiet. That may have been, well, I won't say that was a mistake on our part, but since we've been quiet, what the Zulu Nation has been doing is gathering momentum and operating behind the scenes. So this whole this whole demonstration that we're going to have on the 27th is because we believe that the Universal Hip Hop Museum is being run by Africa Bambaataa and the Zulu Nation. We believe those people in there are looking out for his interests. We believe that they named the museum because of Bambaataa's delusions. Like he said, I am the god of universal hip hop culture.
Yeah.
My organization is the Universal Zulu Nation. And this museum, that he co-founded, is the Universal Hip Hop Museum. So they had been trying to do this museum for since maybe 2012, 2013.
Yeah.
And even when the allegations came out, like on Star's show, then with the John Doe lawsuit, which was 5 years later,
Yeah.
they just kind of Bambaataa kind of disappeared.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the Universal Museum was highlighting Bambaataa all over the place. And then they tried to quietly, like, let's just pull his name off the website. Let's just act like that never happened, kind of thing. So we have been calling them to the carpet because now, since they have received millions of dollars, we weren't even going to target this museum at all. They have received millions of dollars for every level of government in New York, from the city level, meaning the mayor, to the state level, meaning the legislator, to Congress, to the federal level, meaning Schumer and Gillibrand.
Okay.
So they have received millions of dollars. And once they received that money, then they started turning up the promotions of Africa Bambaataa and the Zulu Nation.
Yeah.
Now, one last piece of this is that if it is true that Bambaataa was involved Bambaataa and some of those Zulus were involved in a child sex trafficking ring, and Universal is his signature term in that atmosphere, right? Because we have other Universals, like even in Chicago, remember a Universal Beatdown, like that was Universal,
Yeah.
But in their world, he is universal because he thinks he's an intergalactic being.
Yeah.
So since they got the money, the museum, they have turned up the promotion of Africa Bambaataa and the Zulu Nation. They're shouting out Bambaataa and the Zulu Nation even in front of the mayor. So if he was involved in a child sex trafficking ring, we believe that name, language, and what they're doing is signaling other pedophiles. So other pedophiles will understand the signaling to mean this is a safe space for you. And this is a hunting ground for more child victims.
Yeah.
Like, it is extremely serious. And we did approach the museum and the mayor's office, and the museum just got back to us today. Okay. And even that's not sufficient.
Okay. Okay. So they got back to you today. For 4 or 5 years ago, we shut down that whole thing with SOBs. It's been in the news. I think Lisa, I forgot her last Evers. I think interview Africa Bambaataa called it was a soft interview. It was a quick meeting. It was a clip. It came in and went. I know Savage, the young man. I think he came out. I think he was the first one, and then I think it was the other gentleman. I forgot the
Hassan Campbell.
Hassan Campbell. But there's been others. And what people need to understand, right, is that these type of things, people may say, well, what's going on? Doesn't Schumer read newspaper? Doesn't he know that Africa Bambaataa have all these victims? Are they in on it? Yada, yada, yada. What people need to understand is that if something doesn't go viral and it doesn't get enough attention, it's not going to get to the right ears by the right people. And sometimes, there's allegations all over the place. So people just sometimes get desensitized by these things. Oh, everybody gets at one point who's famous got accused of something, right? So it kind of becomes the normal thing. If you're famous or you're someone power and prestige, somebody, if you look, long enough in your history, somebody is accusing you of something. And I'm not demeaning it or not giving importance to it, but people have sensitized themselves to it these days, right? To the point that it's like, hey, there's rumors on everybody. But this is not rumors. These are solid allegations, solid victims coming out, the same routine, the same MO, with this book being always thrown around. It's the same MO. And what people need to understand is that, okay, why is this not being promoted in the way it's supposed, or the media has picked it up? It's two particular reasons. The victims are marginalized people of color, people from the hood, boys, and boys, and people got this idea that boys are tough and they could handle it. It was not a big deal. Or even girls, from the hood. She wanted it, right? She was a fast little girl. I used to see her with Pum Pum shorts. She was 12. Yeah, but that's still a child, right? And as adults, we're supposed to be the responsible ones, right? Just because a young girl has been exposed to sex in an unhealthy way, and she expressing her sexuality in a non positive way, or she should not be expressing her sexuality at all at the age of 12. That's not supposed to be her thing. But in today's society, we get exposed to sex, we get exposed to these unhealthy relationship with your body and how you get attention. Sometimes kids say, okay, now I'm getting attention because now I could show my boobs and now boys like me. And we as adults, we have to protect kids from themselves. So I think the problem is that is the victims. If Africa Bambaataa was hurting white kids from the suburbs, he would have been under the jail by now. He would have been exposed years ago. But because he's attacking vulnerable youth, marginalized, poor people that are not has resources like the white family in the suburbs. They could get the great lawyer. They could pay. They could finance their house. They could do what they need to do to get justice. We in the Black and Latino community don't have these resources. So I commend you, and I commend people like you that are fighting this despite the odds. And where people need to understand that these type of protests, they could affect, they could alter, they can make things happen. That's why we need everybody's support. People need to show up. So please let us know, when is the date, where's the place, the time, because I want everybody to show up. If they're in the New York area, and they even in the New Jersey area, even as far as Philadelphia, drive that day, take a day off and show support, because this thing is important. We made change. We were able to make change 4 years ago, 5 years ago. We could do it again, more and better this time. We had 200 people. We need now 2,000 people. We need people to peacefully protest and peacefully make their voice heard, and let people know that our tax money is not going to be allocated to organizations that have been associated with criminal activity like these predators. And I see, okay, I'm going to bring you back. I know your camera's out, and you'll come right back. So later, when you come back, I know you're rebooting your computer. I know you're having some issues. I think you're back. Are you back?
You know what? I think maybe let me try something else. But go right ahead. I didn't hear everything you said, but
what I want to hear is give us the detail, the place, the time. What should people expect? What do you want people to do? Give us the lower down because I want to promote this event on the 27th.
Yeah, to your point that's what I tell people too. We can make a difference. But we can't do everything online. We have to show up and we have to make our voices heard. I also just want to clarify, we don't hate hip hop and we want a museum, but what we don't want is our money going to promote Africa Bambaataa and the Zulu Nation, which is what is happening at this museum. So like we just discussed a few minutes ago, they are getting funding from every level of government. So our protest is at City Hall. It's not at the museum. It's downtown Manhattan, 260 Broadway at City Hall, so that they can hear us. It's at 9:00 in the morning on March 27th, which is a Monday morning at 9. We're going to catch the city going in to work, because this is not a game and we want all of them to hear us. So that's where it is, March 27th, Monday, March 27th, 9 a.m. And you can talk to your employer. You can talk to your boss. It is your constitutional right to protest. And they would be proud of you to know that you are civically active, especially for something so important. You don't have to lie and take off a day and use a sick day. If you told your boss what's going on and that we've been fighting this for 6 years and it's our business to handle, we have to do this. Like you just explained, no one else is doing this and none of us get any money from this. This is civic action only, and we stand with survivors. We don't want it to continue, and we believe more children are endangered at that museum. They're bragging about busing kids in there and having child and teen programming.
Yeah, and what people need to understand is that pedophiles is a disease. They are attractive to young pre-adolescent people the same way that heterosexual people are attracted to the opposite sex. The same way gay people are attracted to the same sex. The same there is an attraction that they have. It's a sex attraction. People debate where it comes from, how it gets developed. That's besides the point right now. We have data now. We have information in how these people work and how they operate. And the way they operate, they usually surround themselves and put themselves in areas that have access to children. They have access and they usually create a team and they usually work together. Pedophiles sometimes work together. It's not lone wolf on their own. There are reigns and there are organization networks, and they say, "Yeah, meet me here. We're doing this. I know where kids are at." They are communicating. There's an organization called the Man Boys Lover Association. You hear all the time in alternative news that they cracked this pedophile ring in Texas. They cracked this pedophile in Florida. They cracked this thing in Mexico. Coyotes they cater to this demographic. They send kids and act like these are my kids, but these are kids that have been kidnapped. And you have organizations that are set up to adopt these kids for the sole purpose of molesting them. This is a serious thing, guys. This is not a joke. This is not because we hate Africa Bambaataa, or we hate the Zulu Nation, or we hate hip hop. We're doing this because we actually, we do love these people. We want these people to get help. But the first thing we have to do
about that, but we love hip hop.
We love hip hop, but what I'm saying is,
they need to be under the jail or worse.
Or worse, yeah. If they want to repent, great. But if they're not, you're right. Let's build a jail to put them on under that jail. And I'm all about redemption. Being a pastor for 12 years, I understand that. But justice first must be established. Justice, the crime has to stop before we deal with forgiveness, before we deal with repentance, and the person has to want to repent. And all the actions that I have seen from these guys, African Bambaataa, the Zulu Nation, they don't want to stop. They don't want to acknowledge. All they want to do is continue going forward and cover up. these behaviors. So this is a crime syndicate. This is not, I don't care what they good things they do. Listen, when I was a kid, the neighborhood drug dealers all the time used to give turkeys on Christmas time and Easter and all that and Halloween to the kids. But they were selling drugs around the corner. They were destroying lives. So who cared they were giving turkeys on Thanksgiving? A lot of that, they do that because of the conscience, or they do that because of trying to get a good image and things of that nature. So we got to get away from this thinking that pedophile and people that are in that lifestyle are all bad. They're all creepy. They're all, evil people. A lot of these people are senators, police officers, and they do good in the community, right? They help their grandma. They do this and do that, but they got this disease. It's a disease. And they cover it up. And because, and rightful so, there's a shame of it. And so forth. So we have to start talking about creating organizations of that pedophiles could go and get help. Because there's some people that do that. They acknowledge, hey, I got this thing, this attraction to young people, and they deliberately and go and avoid children and they don't be around children and say, hey, listen, I got this situation, right? But those that are hiding, and those that are creeping, those that are committing crimes, we have to fight fire with fire. We got to fight fire. We got to stop them. We got to first stop them. Get some handcuffs around their wrist. Let them see the judge. Once they start doing that, now we can talk about, okay, let's help them too. But at this point, we are focusing too much on the people that are doing the victimizing. And we have to focus on the victim and on the victims. And the more we start saying, well, come on, this is hip hop, Afrika Bambaataa has done so much for hip hop, blah, blah, blah. I mean, listen, if Afrika Bambaataa would not have been born, hip hop would still be a thing.
That's what I said.
I mean, so
hip hop was going to be there. It was already there anyway. Even a DJ.
Exactly.
Hip hop was going to be hip hop, period.
So I was a DJ from the Bronx. White Castle now be. I mean, without White Castle. What's that? Horse Point. Not Horse Point.
Bronx River.
Bronx River. There you go. I got all over the place. Bronx River. Now remember, I was born and raised in Boynton and also in Stratford, right? And I later on I moved to Cypress. But I remember when we was in Boynton. Every Saturday at 3 o'clock, you have the Bronx River pool. And that was a big thing for kids. We're in the ghetto. We have no money. Pool, 3 o'clock. Let's go. Let's have a good time, right? And usually in the summer, it was also open during the week, I believe. And I remember sometimes Afrika Bambaataa was there.
Of course.
As a DJ playing music. Kids are dancing, everybody's having a good time, peace, and having fun. But and even back then, there was always rumors about him being a homosexual, right? And listen, if he's a homosexual, fine. But we need to separate this from, because pedophilia has nothing to do with homosexuality. Pedophilia has nothing to do with transgender or lesbianism and things like that. It is a mental illness. It is a disease. And pedophile comes in all shapes and sizes. Some pedophiles are gay. Some pedophiles are straight. Some pedophiles are women. Some pedophiles are lesbian. Some pedophiles are transgender. So don't allow pedophile who happen to be gay, happen to be transgender, have to be women, and to hide behind those titles, right? And because pedophile is an illness, okay? And it's not always white guys, creepy white guys around the corner. It could be your uncle. It could be your aunt. It could be your teacher. It could be your hero, the guy you looked up to as a little kid. So we have to bring awareness to this, and we got to put in a good fight. That's why I'm urging everybody to show up on the 27th. What is there a time you want everybody to get there? What should we wear? Anything that we could you could share with the audience, and that it could help out and clarify the best way to navigate this.
Yeah, I want to go back to two things. You were saying first about the how these kinds of people have a good outer reputation, that they do good things in the community. Now the Zulu Nation has been around long enough that we can actually distinguish time periods, and they actually didn't start doing anything good in the community until like the 90s. Like then now hip hop is on fire, and people started joining the Zulu Nation. It was these younger guys who joined the Zulu Nation who thought they were about something, that started executing the so-called mission of the organization. But those old heads were they were doing extortion. They were robbing people. Bambaataa was trafficking people. All of this allegedly, according to the lawsuit, news reports, and everything else. Now, as far as the science goes with pedophiles, so far there's no cure for them. Me personally, I don't waste time trying to worry about them. And when it comes to people like Africa Bambaataa, so while they can abuse people, men, boys that grew into men with serious emotional trauma, okay, they're second guessing themselves. They don't know why this happened to them. They've needed therapy. It is said by Child USA that these survivors need, on average, at least $1 million worth of therapy in their lives. So these pedophiles get a chance to make themselves over in the public eye. Now I created hip hop. Now I'm the godfather of hip hop. Now I'm the god of hip hop culture. Now, so he's out here living his best life and left a trail of destruction behind them. So what we have to stop doing, and what hip hop has to do, and we are the hip hop generation. So I'm not an MC, never wanted to be, but I'm part of hip hop also. And what hip hop has to do is grow up. We have to move the consciousness of hip hop forward. I will speak for myself and say I was completely ignorant of this world of pedophiles that's right in front of us. It's right in clear day. While you're going in and out of the subway, they are there. While you take your kids to the park, one is there. They want to go from the Bronx Community Center, where they were recruiting these boys, to this universal hip hop museum. That's how we're looking at this. So on Monday, March 27th, we really need good people to come and stand. Just stand with the survivors. That lets them know you heard them. We are trying to get the attention of our legislators to stop funding that museum until they clean house, until Rocky Buchanan is voted out of there. He is the main person allowing this promotion of the Zulu Nation, and his relationships have totally compromised him. So please come and stand with us. Nobody's going to handle this. If we don't put the brakes on this, if we don't handle it, they're going to keep busing kids in until you see Africa Bambaataa there himself playing Santa with a little kid on his lap. Like we don't know what this will grow into if we do not take control of it. Excuse me for yelling. No. We really are asking that the public, you guys, please come and stand with the survivors. You can bring handheld signs, or you don't have to bring signs. But you saw at the other protest he just showed, they had signs because you can't affix them to sticks or poles. So you just have a poster board or whatever you want. But please get there. You can come early, but we want you there by 9 at the latest. We want to make a strong showing at early in the morning when people are on their way to work. The media is stationed at City Hall. We want to make a strong statement, and we want to be heard.
And I also want every person who has a podcast, a social media channel that you have, whether you have 100 subscribers or 100,000 subscribers, you should show up, because sometimes it's the alternative media that picks up these things, and I think alternative media is the new media.
I am alternative media.
Exactly.
That's me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's we have to start promoting each other because information among us gets assimilated much quicker. It's a grassroots thing. Okay. So if you have a podcast, regardless what is the topic, you should take off that day, take some time, show up, interview people, promote this thing, spread the word, and let them know that. And I'm a man of my word. What I told Africa Bambaataa in the Zulu Nation 5 years ago, that if they book anything in New York, we're going to be there. I'm no longer with GOCC. I'm dealing with Man Going God's Way. We're going to be having a meeting about this before the event to see how many people could show up and so forth, so on. I don't have many of my members in New York, but we'll see what we could do. I'm going to call some friends of mine within the hip hop community and see if they could show up. The biker community, see if they could show up. So I'm going to try to call as much as people as possible, because what people need to understand is that if we do nothing, if we we went, you guys did something 4 years ago, nothing happened. That's not true.
No. Listen, he wasn't booked in New York again after that.
Exactly. And what people need to understand, if they see the same people, if they start seeing more people, okay, they're going to realize, okay, now this is a well-organized organization. They're not gonna stop. We have to address this, because the people that are supporting Africa Bambaataa and the Zulu Nation, they heard of these rumors. They know about these rumors, but they start rationalizing it. Well, what this is gonna mean for me. Because a lot of people that are surrounded among these organizations and things of that nature, there's some incentive for them to be there, whatever that means. It's affecting me, right? I need Africa Bambaataa. I need his name. I need his hookups. I need his connections, because now I'm going to be affected, right? I'm trying to do this, that, and the other, right? And what happened is when they hear these type of rumors, they start rationalizing. It happened a long time ago. We got to move on, yada, yada, yada. And that's exactly and precisely what these pedophiles are hoping for, but they could continue living another day. We have to force people to stop. Go ahead.
Yeah. And that museum only has men on the board, that voting board. See, there's no women there. Because women, it's just a different. We just
different
see
balance,
things
yeah.
differently.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. Like you wouldn't be able to just promote these people after all these allegations. Like, we're not so quick to rationalize it.
Yeah,
away,
exactly. Exactly.
So all of us are needed.
Yeah. So shame on the men within the hip hop community. Shame, because we talk about all this tough thing. There's always talk about respect. Don't disrespect my hood. Don't disrespect where I come from. Don't put respect upon my name, yada, yada, yada. We're, within the hip hop community, we'll promote somebody shooting a whole block because somebody disrespect them, right? Oh, he's a gangster. He did this, he did that. But you're not going to protect your children.
Right.
You're not going to protect, how tough are you? And we got to bring back some form of honor among our community and respect.
Absolutely.
Of certain things you cannot do. Certain things is not acceptable. Certain things are not okay.
Exactly.
And
this is a great opportunity for us, because it is the 50th anniversary of hip hop, and hip hop, we need to get our brooms out and clean this up so that we can go back to having some kind of code of honor again. Let this be the beginning of that. Like, we don't hate people. We want this to stop. We don't want anybody else getting hurt. And if we don't do anything, one more child goes there and is all up under Zulu Nation signs, and some pervert is, what I'm saying? Like, it's
exactly.
too much of a risk.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because what people need to understand, they don't stop.
That was another thing I was going to say.
Yeah, they don't stop.
The science shows pedophiles, even if they're too old to, actually do anything, they are still molesting children.
Yeah.
Because that's not the only way to molest them.
Exactly.
It does not stop. It does not go away. It does not.
And I read some articles that there is within any given community, and I heard different stats, between 8 and 9% of that population is a pedophile. Of our population, and globally, 8 or 9%. That's a lot. I mean, if you compare it to, you got the Latino communities between 20% of the population, the African Americans between 12 to 14%. So we're talking about 8 or 10%, depending on the stat that you read. That's almost in the same. That's more. There's more pedophile in America than there are Asian people. I think Asian people, I believe they're like 1.5%, maybe, of the population. And you got other nations that it's other, they all bunch up into other, right? And they're usually 1%, 2%. So when you're talking about 8% of the population, that's more than some racial groups in America. So if you've seen an Asian today, if you've seen an African American today, you mostly run into also a pedophile. Because they're out there and they hide in the shadows. They don't want to get help. There is no cure for it, right? So there's been, even talked about that, pedophiles should be castrated and things of that nature. There's been conversation that there can be, I think there already is, I believe in Arizona, communities for pedophiles, like a gated scenario for them, like work release that they have to, ankle braces and things of that nature. We have to increase budget into that to protect our children, because we got data now. We know what happens to those victims. They have an unhealthy relationship with sex. They don't develop well. They create all kinds of phobias and life challenges, and a lot of them become pedophiles themselves.
And they self-harm and self-medicate.
Yes.
Also, and another thing about pedophiles is that they are very clever.
Yeah.
And they are predators. So you could be a parent, the mom or the dad, and they will size you up like a predator.
Yeah.
And figure out how to get next to you. And
Yeah.
the next thing you know, you're entrusting your child to this person. And that's how the priests who got convicted are. They are extremely clever. So people, like, to your point, they're not just weirdos, like, he looks like a pervert. Come on, give me my kid and let's get out of here. No, they could be the most well-liked person in the community,
the nicest person. They do good work for the community. I think it's okay. We're back. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Mm-hmm. Perfect. Okay. It's okay. This is live television. It happens, But I think you're right. And a lot of them are harmless. They're good. They do good for the community. Not him. Not 1,000 years, I would imagine. Exactly.
And so the survivors think they won't be believed because everybody loves this guy.
Exactly.
Even if it's their uncle or grandfather or whoever.
Yeah. And that's why we have to create the safe place of victims coming out earlier the better, early the better. Sometimes it's a situation that I know Leila's having some challenges there. It's okay. I can still hear you, but but I know you're working that out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It's okay. I'm
so sorry.
That's okay.
It says my internet is unstable too.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's the weather or what.
The weather is bad today. What I usually do, especially when I do these interviews, I do all my internet connection hardwired. I put it, that's usually, people recommend always, if you do a lot of interviews, Zoom, especially whatever party, you're in, a lot of woods and all that. So hardwire that bad boy, because
that's a good idea.
Yeah. But, I want to, so I also want to promote the website here.
And we're a collective too. We are a collective, and now you're with us, and you were one of the first people we wanted to contact to ask to stand with us again. We want to ask you if you would say a few words also at the event too.
It will be my pleasure. I'll bring my wolf pack with me. And like I said, man, I always gonna support your work because you're doing good work. And you know, you don't have to sell this to me because I believe that this is important. There should be more people doing this type of work. It's a shame that, a woman has to pick this up and she's alone. And I know you got support, you got my support, but you should have more support. There should be men standing there instead of not our kids. It should not be. I don't want to. I'll be ashamed if I start seeing single mothers all over the place in the protests with their kids. And where the men at? Where the men? Where the tough guys? Where the guys that'll say, you know what, we're not going to stand for this. Not my kid, not my neighborhood. Well, stand with us then. Stand with us now and show force. Because it does work. A lot of people say, protest. Yeah, it does work because it's once the momentum happened and they realize we ain't going to go away.
Right.
We ain't going to shut up. We're not going to leave it alone. We're not going to say it happened a long time ago. Let's move on. Africa Bambaataa is old. He's harmless now. No, he's not.
And neither are the people who enabled him.
Exactly. No, they're not. They're not innocent. This is not an innocent thing. This is not something that people are just going to, like I said, pedophiles do not stop. They don't just simply say, you know what, I'm done. Let me just leave that. No, they just keep going until somebody stops them.
Yeah. And these legislators are about to stop giving these people money to promote Africa Bambaataa and the Zulu Nation. That's our tax dollars.
Exactly. It's like this.
They're not doing that. Even if I was standing there by myself, that's exactly what I would be doing. I would be waiting at Eric Adams' office. Like, I don't think so. Yeah.
I'll be there with you. Anytime you need me, I'll be there with you. And let me just say this. If Africa Bambaataa was talking about something about Jewish people 10 years ago, 20 years ago, if he was saying some homophobic or something, what have you, he would be shut down tomorrow. Look what happened with Ye.
If he did it to dogs,
exactly. If you were to hear, Africa, he was abusing dogs. He was having dogs fighting in the backyard, and one of them got hurt, and I think one got killed. It will be front page news.
Done for life.
And you know what's a shame, man? What happened to those days of putting a camera in these people's faces? What happened to the old school reporting? The mainstream media, all they do is stare on their laptop. They're just lazy work. It's just lazy work. They report
on social media. The leading story will be something that happened on Twitter.
Exactly. We have to go back to the field. That's why I like use organizations like Private Veritas. Shout out to them. They out there doing good work. Doing good investigating work and so forth, so on. These are things we have to do. We have to get a little more extreme. We have to put follow them, put a camera in their face, create our own news organization. Now it's easier more than ever.
Definitely.
Just create your own TikTok, your own Instagram, your own YouTube channel. Call it whatever you want to call it. Call the news. Get yourself a badge, and it's very easy to become a news reporter because that power is given to the people by the United States Congress.
Yeah. And help move our people forward. Help move the people forward, because if we just sit there and consume what they give us, then what they're giving us. Okay. That's why our society is going down. But all of us are capable of moving society forward. Now, there is a report I did want to mention that I forgot. That we wrote on the museum on this entire issue that your audience can read the report. It's on that website. They just have to go to the website and click the link, and it's detailed and it's kind of lengthy, but it's thorough. So you'll understand what issues why we're going to City Hall in 2 weeks. And just take your time and read it, and I'm sure you will see what we see.
Yeah, and I put the link below. Is Hip Hop Standing with Survivors. That's the website. Let me show the people here on the show. This is the link. The link is in the bottom. We have also Leila YouTube channel. She also dump videos there and updates. But support this work, man. Support this work. It's not about us, because sometimes people get caught up, or the messengers become the focus point. I'm not perfect. I'm pretty sure you're not perfect. We done mistakes, but we have to get ourselves out of the way and understand. Okay, this subject is the most important. The children, and if I remember when Donald Trump, I think he increased the budget on dealing with child trafficking and things of that nature. I don't know if Biden, what he did with that or so forth, but I remember that was something that he did. And I know that was something that it was always in the air. It's like, we have to fight this fight. I have family members that, in Homeland Security, and that's a major thing that they talk about, these coyotes that you have these pedophiles waiting for these children, saying, "Oh, these are my children. I'm a cousin. I'm this, or what have you." Or I have an organization that they want to adopt these kids and so forth, so on. They're all pedophile. These people are extremely organized. They have a lot of resources. They are networking, and we have to create a network as strong or even stronger than them to stop them. And that's why I'm trying to let in. People think that this is just individual people. They are pedophiles just working alone and all that. They are networking with one another.
No, they don't work alone.
They don't work alone.
They exchange porn, child porn, and victims, and like what you're describing. They have a whole underground network where they move these children through.
Yeah. And so I'm showing the people the website here. You could go and it gives you testimonials. You got all the information you have. And let me say, Leila got receipts. I don't deal with people that don't have receipts. I don't deal with people that deal with hearsays, rumors. She has receipts. I mean, there was one situation there was one eyewitness that African Bambaataa had like 2 Hispanic kids, I think 2 Puerto Rican kids, dressed up as Egyptian garbs, feeding him or something. But could you elaborate about that? Because I was like, what's going on here? Because that was always the thing. He always likes young Latino boys, but these kids were like, what, 12, 13? How old were these kids? What was the allegation of this perverted individual? And what was he doing?
So what you're referring to is somebody he was a red alert security guard, and he was describing bodyguarding Red Alert in Atlanta, and they were on their way to a party. And before they got to the party, he said that Red Alert told him, when we get there, it's not going to look right, but he's a pioneer, meaning Africa Bambaataa. So when they get inside of the party, and he said there were Zulus there and industry people were there. So it wasn't just a couple of people. It was a party.
Yeah.
And the guy said that when he got in there, Bambaataa was sitting in a chair, and he had a bunch of Puerto Rican boys dressed up like Egyptian princesses, feeding him grapes and pouring his drink, whatever it was that he was drinking. Now in Georgia, though, around this time, which was 06, 07, somewhere around 06, 07, Malachi York's people had land in Georgia in Putnam County, and they were into the Egyptian thing. And that's probably where those boys came from.
Right. And
Red Alert said that he had never seen nor heard anything about Bambaataa and these allegations, but here's somebody saying he was in fact his security and took him to a party where this was going on. That's abuse. That's abuse. You don't have to see Bambaataa doing something with them. What do you think that is? Yeah,
and to allow that with all these so-called tough guys and there's certain things, and hip hop has always been extremely anti-gay or no homo. Tough exterior. You allowing these young kids being treated like women, and that's some of that jailhouse mentality. I mean, what's going on here? It's not.
I would have blew my top if I went anywhere and saw that. I just don't even. I don't even know. I think I would totally black out and end up in jail. Like I don't even know how do you How do you watch that and stay there? Like, how do you do that?
Yeah, I think the problem with unfortunately, and we have to kind of admit this to ourselves, that there's always going to be hip hop is going to attract not the best of us. Unfortunately, I think I love hip hop. I'm 50 years old. I've been there. I remember when, Public Enemy, Run DMC. Me personally, I'm a big fan of Wu-Tang Clan. I think they're the best. But there's I think Killer Priest is the best rapper of all times. But that's my opinion. I know people usually deal with the most popular ones, but that's my. I like hip hop. I understand it. I understand the where it comes from. But what people need to understand that it came from the hood, and it came from certain, demographic that gangster mentality, that jailhouse mentality, and within the jails, you got homosexual lifestyle happening, and it's not considered to be gay, right? You get raped in jail. The person who raped you is not considered to be gay because he just took your masculinity and so forth, so on. But these are rapists hiding among this culture, right? These are pedophiles hiding among this culture. And they're creating the ambiance that it's okay. Oh, you just got punked.
Yeah, they're normalizing.
They're normalizing this jailhouse, this criminality type of situation. And I remember when hip-hop took that turn, right? When gangster rap began to become a thing and so forth, so on. Even the dragging of your pants now, exposing your underwears come from jailhouse, mentality, and it's one of those things that how can we turn the page? How can we, and sometimes I feel that it is too late sometimes. My organization, A Man Going God's Way, what we're trying to tell man is that you should explore your horizon, and even dating certain people in America. Relationship is sometimes is dangerous in America. You should maybe explore your horizon. Make sure that you are dating somebody and being with somebody with the same values that you have. Because once two people with the same values come together and they teach those same values to their children, and those children grow up, what you're doing, you're building a community. And that's why I truly believe they're trying to destroy the family structure, man, woman, and child, and destroying the heterosexual, moral, Christian point of view. I think they're trying to get rid of that and demonize that. And yes, there are some idiots out there within the Christian community we have to talk about. I believe we have to clean house within the Christian community as well. I believe there's a lot of classic homosexuals and pedophiles in the Christian church, and so forth. So I think that we need to talk about that too. I think there is a conversation that you have 65% of churchgoers are women. I think 25% of men. Men are not showing up in churches, and church has always been a bedrock to stand against injustice. The civil rights movement, the church was involved with the civil rights movements and things of that nature. We have to bring back men that stand up and say, no, we're not going to do that. No, we're not going to allow that. We're going to start organizations to stop that, and so forth, so on. And we have to bring back these organizations, because, these organizations that we call today organizations like the Zulu Nation or the Crips and the Bloods and the Yeta, the Latin Kings. A lot of these organizations started with good intentions. They became gangs later on, but a lot of them became with good intentions, and so forth, so on. And the Christian church always was there against slavery, was always fighting against discrimination, and so forth, so on. And where are those people? Where are those, those freedom fighters? Where are those people that are saying we're not going to take this anymore? And I think everybody's just getting the bag. I think everybody's more focused on how can this thing help my career. And I'm fed up with it, man. It angers me when this thing goes on that 5 years later, no arrests. No one has been in front of a judge, and you're still out there. I'm going to be in this protest and the next and the one after anytime you invite me. But it's a shame that we have to go this far. But you know what? If we have to go this far, let's go this far. So I want to talk to you. I'm actually this question. Have you taken some precautions in regards of your security and your safety I know I've seen some of your, shows, and there's been threats, even people from the Zulu nations and the so-called hip hop community saying, you're a hater, you don't know what you're talking about, shut your mouth. So can you talk to me about that? How much, the threats and have you done any precaution to make sure that you're safe in your family?
Yeah, I'm good on that. And
Okay.
that's all I'll say on that. But they hate me. Okay.
Yeah.
They've been living this lifestyle, and every chance I get, I let them know that they disgust me.
Yeah.
You disgust me.
Yeah.
So they hate me, and they think I'm clout chasing, and there is no clout in this.
Yeah, exactly.
I lose clout.
Yeah.
I lose clout messing around with this subject. I lose sleep. I lose everything. Like it's not pretty. But if you were friends with these people or know people who this has, it's worse than just an individual pedophile, because to have your own personal army to instill fear in these people and the community. And so I think that's why it was me who just won't let it go. Like, I'm from an entirely different city. And even to this day, men that's like in their 60s who came up with the Zulu Nation, they don't talk about the Zulu. Everybody's still scared of the Zulu Nation. And I tell them they disgust me.
Yeah.
Like, I show them no respect at all. So yeah, they don't like me. I don't think it's a game.
Yeah.
I'm not arrogant or untouchable or think invincible.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a game, but I just refuse to be intimidated by pedophiles.
Yeah, exactly. And
these men are always telling, not all of them, but some of them tell me you need to be careful. I'm like, well, you need to come on the 27. Then I don't have to be careful.
Exactly.
I can do my thing.
Exactly.
You got my back.
Exactly. And this is the thing that drives me crazy. You have these guys that will criticize you because I've seen some comments and seen some things. Oh, she's clout chasing. She's trying to make money out of this documentary, yada yada yada, or she's trying to find.
Nobody was interested in that documentary.
Yeah, exactly. And
except for me, I was interested.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And what people need to understand is that there's certain people that are now okay with pedophiles. Like, there's certain people that, I deal with that in my family. We had to deal with that. People got arrested, people got charged, and so forth, so on. And thank God that people spoke up, and so forth, so on. So we was able to, deal with it quick and not wait years later. So, I want to just give a shout out to the people that were involved and were brave enough to speak. So I know from firsthand the destruction, because when I noticed it, and I've been hearing reports and not only with my situation, but just talk to other people that has experienced the same situation. Sometimes family members take sides.
Well, yeah.
What is a shame? It's a shame that he was my uncle, he was my father, he was my brother, he was this. How can you do this? He was a good community person. He was the pastor, he was the cop, he was the this. Everybody loved him. And for some reason, the fact that he was touching children, I just cannot wrap my head around that. And maybe is it an educational thing? Maybe people don't understand, or people think.
What I think it is.
Yeah. What do you think it is?
I think that in some cases, a child, however old, I mean, they could be the little bitty ones on up.
Yeah.
That's being abused are probably acting out in some way, or falling behind in their schoolwork, or something that makes them appear to be like a troublemaker or something.
Gotcha.
So then if you have this problem child who's giving, you don't know why he's giving you problems, and you keep putting him on punishment, and he keeps defying you, and so it's just a constant problem. And then they say, this one did this to me. The parent or whoever is probably like, why don't you stop lying? You just blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I think you're ignorant to try to get to the bottom of children's behavior when they're constantly acting out, like something may be going on with it.
Right. So because pedophiles would not attract or not would target well balanced young people.
Or they will, and then that well-balanced young people turns into a problem child.
Right. But what I'm saying, I think they always go into the vulnerable, right? The problem kids, the kids that nobody's gonna believe, or the awkward person, or the vulnerable person. And if you're right, and if he's a well balanced child, usually they start grooming them to separate them little by little from their families, isolating them. Hey, there's a trip. Billy could come with us. He's gonna learn so much. It's a great opportunity. It's always set up to separate them and start grooming them and so forth, so on. But the question I wanted actually is, I can understand why the pedophiles are doing it. Because I think the problem is not only the pedophile, but is how quickly the people that are surrounded by the pedophile are there are coming up to defend the pedophile, right? Because the way I kind of look at it is, this situation is like, I could have a friend who I love, my best friend, right? And if this allegation comes out, I got to first clear that out just in case he could be one.
Oh my goodness.
Right? I'm not going to say, I know my friend. There's no way in hell, right?
What?
And even like, if I ever been accused of that, I want to, the world will stop until I clear my name, and not only clear my name, but find the people who lied about me and expose them. I don't understand that mentality of people immediately going to defend something or someone who they haven't seen the evidence. They haven't talked to the victim. So why is are people that evil, or did that evil? What's the psychological trip they're going through?
These guys would be around the same age as him, so they wouldn't be victims. He already turned them out. Like they were all doing this together. And they would have the young boys watch them, the older ones, with Bambaataa.
Got you.
So if you expose Bambaataa, like, I have to say this is not true, because everybody knows I'm always with him, and my wife knows I'm always with him.
Yeah.
So if he's exposed, I'm exposed. And guess what? If he's exposed and I don't defend him, he might start singing like a canary.
Yeah. And see, this is a sad situation, because what I don't want this to happen. You got the Me Too movement, right? And Hollywood, to their credit, Weinstein, what's the other guy that killed himself? Epstein. And what's the other guy, the producer, the director? Weinstein, I think his name is. Epstein?
Yeah, Weinstein was right. And then Epstein.
Epstein was the other one, right?
Yeah.
And I think he is, cream of the crop. I mean, if you want to say well-organized pedophile ring, he's up there. And I think a lot of that, we have to start talking about this, because it's African Bambaataa, and I don't want to be out here be called conspiracy theorists. I have no evidence of this, but maybe I want you to comment on this. Do you think this is somehow connected into, like, not only dabbling into my pedophile lust, but also working with people higher ups, deep state, people behind the scenes, to compromise any potential people that may come up, groove these young people, compromise them. So in the future, hey, we got, you mentioned about this book laying around. There's been that Africa Bambaataa takes on naked men and show what exactly, what is this, elaborate in this book, but maybe.
He has several books from what I understand. He takes pictures, and he has taken pictures through the years, all these years of different people. That this sex cult thing has been going on. It's a regular part.
Do you think he's doing that for his ego, or do you think he's being told to do that?
These are things he gets off on when he's alone.
Got you.
The same way a serial killer will bury like the earring, and then they'll go dig up the earring and just feel the earring.
Yeah.
That's what I think this is.
Got you.
Now, what you just were describing, Bambaataa, in my opinion, has never invented anything. He's never originated anything.
Yeah.
Everything Bambaataa, he's clever. Everything he's done, he's taken from someplace else. The teachings of the Zulu nation all came from other people.
Right.
Saying he's a father of hip hop, that came from other people.
Yeah.
Learning how to DJ, there were already DJs. Everything he's ever done, he's never invented it.
Right.
So I'm of the opinion that he brought some kind of sex trafficking ring stuff to
the hip hop
river, and that when he's overseas and in Brazil and these other places, he's seeing these big boys do it, right? These white boys. These are the places I think he's able to hide.
I got you.
Goes to these other countries. So he's like, just like he said when he started the Zulu Nation, there's an interview of him saying, "I'm gonna get me a nation." He looked up to Minister Farrakhan. He looked up to the real Zulu Nation. He looked up to all these people with their own groups. So he started his own. And I think he's been able to hide in these rings overseas. And then he brought it back to the ghetto.
Got you. And maybe so you think he's learning from other pedophiles, other rings. And I think you're right. That makes sense because it's the same MO. You notice it's the same MO that these guys do. It's always organization that you're gonna do some good for the community or for someone, and usually they put themselves in a position that they are needed. Right? They're in a pivotal role. He's a pastor. He's a president of this organization. We need him. He's important. And these positions, Weinstein, all of them, they always put themselves in a position that they are revered, they are important, and they're the gatekeeper to something that someone wants. It's we got as a society, we have to understand that the human nature, it's no good. We even I remember when I used to be a pastor, and I deliberately never met with women by myself. I never put myself in a position that someone could accuse me of something, right? I could have, because when a person is in a position of authority, he always look more attractive to the opposite sex, right? If a woman's successful, the man's successful, you always look your best, right? And people look at you, and especially men with any position of authority. I could have been in a situation that I could have, if I was a lower down scumbag, to have multiple women lying here and there, and me could be promised them, this, that, and the other, so forth, so on, because I'm Elder Gabar. And I understand that when people are in power, it gets to your head. And if you already have this demonic, lustful disease called pedophilia in your heart, in your mind, in your spirit, your possession, whatever it came from, that power, you're right. Now he believes he's some god from planet whatever, right? And people start getting insane. That's why, one of the reasons why I felt that I need to walk away from the church is because I believe that every church should be run by a committee. I don't think one person should run any organization, because I saw it from experience that I had to check myself. Power corrupts. Power corrupts. Too much power. Everybody's looking at you, looking up to you. You're the person with all the answers. Everybody love.
You have your flunkies and groupies, and so you start believing the hype.
Exactly.
They pumping you up, and you're just believing it.
Exactly. So it's extremely important for us human beings to put mental gates, barriers against ourselves. No, I can't meet with women. No, I cannot do this. No, I cannot go to that bar. No, I cannot meet with you. Or I got to meet with you. This, cameras, recording, all this is important, and especially you in a position.
Everything has checks and balances.
Exactly.
In nature.
It should
Everything
have.
has checks and balances, and that's all we have to. That's how we proceed, more like an organism rather than you're my cult leader.
Exactly.
Okay? You're
Exactly.
my God now.
Yeah. Exactly.
Instead of us everybody's being co-creators in this life, and that's why we have to move the consciousness forward. Hopefully. I think a lot of things are going to change, though. With the pandemic, all the celebrities end up right on social media where we all were. When before there was this big buffer between them and the people, and now they have sorely disappointed the people. Like their idols have all fallen. At this point. So it gets so bad that you could just only hope that out of all of this, things will regulate again. It's already gotten so out of control and out of bounds that that's why I feel really good about what we're doing. And I always, you could talk to any of the guys. I'll be like, okay, this is my last time doing this. I am really sick of this. This is a dark story. I need to move on with my life. And then something will happen. I'll be like, oh no, they are not doing this.
Like one day point. Once I thought I was out, but they pulled me back in. I hear you. Yeah.
So we are bound together, and you too, and we I'm so glad that we got in touch again, and that you'll speak, because that protest at SOBs was very significant. I included in just about all my writings.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate it because and if everybody does a little, we could do a lot. And just one day, just take off, you show support just for victims. If you had a victim in your family, if you know of a victim, if you don't know a victim, you ever heard of, support the victims. And one thing that I want to focus on, because and this is the reason why we have to make sure that when we are supporting victims, we're actually supporting victims indeed. But we have to understand this, right? We have to understand this, that, someone may say, well, are they really a victim? Can we go back 50 years? Can we go back 20 years? Can we go back 30 years? But I want you to talk about this, is that there's been study shows that, especially with pedophilia, right? Shame comes from it. You're the victim, but somehow the person who is violating you has convinced you that somehow it's your fault, and somehow you're going to look bad on this if you report this, yada, yada, yada. Sometimes the victors, those that are victimizing, create a scenario that if the person exposed the pedophile person, their career, their reputation, something within what they want could be hindered, right? So that's why they don't say anything. But the people, and let me also say this, for the people that have not been victimized, and the people that want to exaggerate the truth to get a payday or make up a lie, because you was pissed off at your ex-boyfriend or your ex-girlfriend or what have you, and you did this. What you need to understand, not only you committing a crime, but you're making it harder for the real victims. And because always that guessing, it happened long time, why now? And and people sometimes don't understand, especially with pedophiles and young adults and things of that nature. It takes years for them to get most of the bravery to even say nothing. So talk to us about that. What is usually the science behind people coming out, and why they don't come out sooner rather than later?
So they're always updating the data, and Child USA, that's a think tank and they study these the statute of limitations. So they're constantly doing research. So I kind of, that's where I kind of get my stats from.
Yeah.
So the latest science shows that over 50% of survivors don't disclose until after they turn 50 years old. And it's such a, because this crime, especially if it happens when you're a child, it is such an intimate, confusing, and long-lasting form of abuse. It's even, somebody could slap a child and all kind of thing. This one is so intimate and personal, and it's a needed part of your life later, and you don't know how to process it. And so there's a lot of reasons why people don't disclose, but over half of them don't disclose until after 50, and some never disclose at all. And so that's another reason why survivors need support. So if a survivor comes out and if they're lying, which is very rare. Now, you will see domestic arguments where this may come up, and because they're in a heated exchange, you don't know who's lying or who's not.
Yeah.
But most of the time, when it comes to an adult saying something happened to them when they were younger, so far there hasn't been any false lawsuits filed.
Because you can't get anything from that. I mean, I could see someone who was an adult and they're a groupie and they sleep with a rapper or entertainer, say, oh, he raped me and things of that nature. But there is no gain for saying I was molested, and so forth. So, and when you look at the people that,
especially if you're a man saying you were molested by another man,
and half the time these people are not rich and famous. We only hear about the rich and famous people, but there's working pedophiles and from all walks of life. People from they are not famous. They're also pedophile. We only hear about the African Bambaatas, but if you look at African Bambaataa, he's not like a multi-billionaire like that and things of that nature. So there's no reason for these people to come out,
and he's disgusting.
Yeah. So it's not like they're gaining anything. There's nothing to gain there, so absolutely. And, and I know you got to go soon. So if people want to take some phone calls, want to ask some questions, please call in at 267-358-0879. Also, the Zoom link is below. If you want to come in as well, you're more than welcome. And are you a survivor? If you have any questions about the event, please call in, because it's extremely important that we support this work. Get ourselves. It's not about us. No. You're not supporting us. You're supporting this movement of bringing awareness.
Stop other children from being harmed.
Yeah, bringing justice, and this is the hard work. It is waking up early, staying late, making phone calls, talking to the people, leaving 25,000 messages until they pick up. That is the work that people don't see. And that's the work that you've been doing for a long time. So I commend you for all the hard work that you're doing. And I know it's tiring. And you mentioned, you and I have talked before. You said, sometimes I just want to quit and leave it alone, but you just something else happened and you get motivated again. And don't stop, man. Don't stop, because it's only time and pressure. That's all you need. Time and pressure. Mm-hmm. The wall will break. Time and pressure.
You guys coming on the 27th, that's going to help tremendously.
Well, I appreciate.
But I will still go. I'm telling you, even if I was by myself with my one sign.
No, I'm gonna call PJ. He was my sign guy last time. I would gotta get the paper.
Oh yeah, he did a great job.
Yeah, we gotta find those signs, babe. We gotta find those signs, but we'll make some new ones. I'm gonna gather the troops, try to get as much as possible. Get much people as possible. I know my brother's there. He's gonna be there. It's funny because he takes his child to school in the area in Manhattan, so he's gonna be already ready to go at 8 o'clock.
Here at 8 a.m.
Actually, I'm gonna meet him tomorrow because I gotta give him some more camera equipment, things like that. He's gonna be out there interviewing, filming, and lending his talent. And we're inviting everybody. Yes, I'm gonna try to mention this event between now and then. Every time I come on the show. I usually come on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so I want to try to promote because we have to show force, man. Show force. We definitely got to show voice. Yeah. I just want to cover everything. I just want to make sure, we got the website. We got your YouTube channel. Everything is listed
below.
That
report that we wrote is on the website. That's our educational piece. That's why we're going there on March 27th.
Okay. And what I want to ask you is, what needs to happen? Okay, let's just say they come to justice. A special prosecutor takes on this thing, arrests everybody, start taking, cracking cases, and you know how it is when you start arresting arresting an organization and threatening them, and people are gonna start breaking. There's this whole myth that people don't snitch.
Oh,
everybody snitch when they're facing 20.
These old heads want to go to prison.
Yeah, exactly.
I think they qualify for a RICO case.
Yeah, exactly. Because this is exactly. We need Giuliani to be on this. Put that energy where he put in the energy, getting rid of the homeless people in the 80s. But we need to, is this pressure, and people need to understand that you can be working on something for many years, and is meeting the right elected official, meeting the right prosecutor, meeting the right celebrity, say, what, I want to help you, and it goes viral and some changes happen. But if we
are absolutely right.
Yeah, if we quick now, if we say it's been 10 years, been whatever years, we're still fighting, we're still not getting we're getting maybe small little victories, and like the ASOBs and things of that nature shut down, but we got to win the war. And the war, you got to stay there for the long haul. So I'm commending everybody to show up. All hands on deck. I want all my brothers, if you support this show, if you could take that day off, March 27, that Monday morning, 9 o'clock sharp, get there by 8 to make sure you can set up and things like that, because there's always different changes and so forth, so on. And
traffic, it's Monday morning, come on.
Yeah, so I'm going to be there supporting you, helping you, whatever you need. And we need to make awareness because, this is a sad situation that they could get away with this, running around dressing little Spanish kid with, little Egyptian garments and I will guarantee you, we speak to those young men now, they're damaged. They probably have issues they have to work through. And these are the things that within the Black and Latino community, we don't focus on. We don't, these things. It's like we don't have the resource, not only the resource, but we don't have the wherewithal to understand, okay, maybe this is the part of the issue within the Black community and Latino community within the hood of this dysfunctional relationship. Maybe this is not all is so to blame into pedophile, but I'm saying it's probably a percentage that we are not addressing.
Well, that's what I thought when I first heard the story.
Yeah.
When I first heard them, because I'm from Chicago.
Yeah.
And I was like, I wonder if that is what's going on with some of these kids.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's what I was thinking to myself of our kids. I was like, I wonder if that is what's going on with some of these kids.
Yeah.
And kids is not just the little ones, but teenagers and stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And listen, and I don't even, there's some studies that have seen that even if someone who has not been molested, someone who's exploring their bodies with another young person, which happens a lot, cousins and friends and so forth, being exposed to porn and different things. Study shows that is not healthy either. Mm-hmm. When you are introduced to sex in a perverted way, you don't associate sex with love in marriage, or you do that with your wife. That's what you do with your girlfriend. Now you associate sex separate and apart from a relationship, from a scenario that this comes with. This is the perks of being in a relationship. You distance that. And I remember even as a young kid, when I was 14, 13, every kid had a pornographic material to see. I remember even watching movies like Revenge of the Nerds. That was the first time I saw a breast on television. I was like 12, right? And I remember how your hormone starts kicking. You start looking at things and looking at women a certain way as sexual objects, and even that is damaging. So we have to start looking at what are we doing, what are we allowing children these days? Because back in the days, to see pornographic material, you got to find a friend who stole it from his pops, right? But now it's all, you can just pick it up and it's like so accessible. I think so. We have to talk about also in America the accessibility to exposing young people to sex. I think that's damaging them. I was having sex by 14. That's too young. I don't know what the heck I was doing, right? It's not, and people, we are getting sensitized and say, oh, that's what people do, yada, yada, yada. You make out under the stairs in high school, yada, yada, yada. But we have to understand that and be equipped to say, kids are going to get horny. Mm-hmm. Kids are going to get curious. Kids are going to experiment. It's not if, it's not maybe, they are. So we have to, that's why I truly believe that we should separate kids, young boys from young girls. I think I believe we should bring uniforms back to schools. I think, there's a lot of things we have to do, and but most importantly, fight pedophilia. This thing is a disease that we have to acknowledge. Don't be embarrassed about it. Don't think that, oh, not in my family. Oh, not in my neighborhood. Yes, in your family. Yes, in your neighborhood. We
learned a lot through this. This was a very educational roller coaster ride for us.
Yeah. And we got to stop, man. And I think, strong men, strong women got to stop. Of course, my organization, I'm very critical on the men because I say all of it is our fault. All of it is our fault. Everything is our fault. Everything is man's fault. We are the God. God said, let's make man our own image and our own likeness. Men, we are in charge, and we are to blame for why society is collapsed. We can't blame the women. We can't blame the children. Okay, we are the strongest species, and we are allowing this to happen. And this is what we want strong men to stand up and say, no more.
Okay,
yes, sir.
Everybody heard that, right? So when I start repeating that tomorrow, you're going to know where I got it from.
Exactly. We need stronger men. Where are our heroes? Where are our strong men? And so for so on. Yeah, and we need strong women too. But what I'm saying is the first line of defense has always been men in your neighborhood. When somebody was holding kids, who do you call? The men. Hey, this guy, get him out of here, right? And we got to bring that, that energy back to defending our women, defending our children. We get all about, getting all tough and all that when somebody's disrespecting us. When now we want to be tough when we are affected. But when kids are getting hurt and women are getting raped and all of that, we want to mind our business. We want to, I don't get caught up, with what's going on in the streets or minding my own business or for someone. Men have to start getting the activist bug. We have to see more men involved. So I want to see men showing up. I want women there too, but I don't want to see, 70% women, 20% men and things of that nature. Brothers, you got to come up and stand up and say no more. Pedophile. It's going to be nothing is excusing pedophile. Hip hop, Hollywood, whatever it is. Yeah. Because I understand about this hip hop culture, but heck with hip hop is going to be protecting pedophile. Hell with hip hop is going to be hurting kids. And according to your research, they're already talking about bringing kids to this hip hop museums and yada yada yada, and
they're already busing kids in there.
Yeah, and people need to understand that this is like tailor made for a pedophile.
Absolutely.
Hip hop is the carrot. Look, kids, hip hop. Ooh, cool, dancing,
exactly.
Right? That's what kids like, and
right.
And this is the crazy thing that drives me crazy. When hip-hop came into scene into the ghetto, right, when the drug epidemic and the gang epidemic, kids began to shift their energy into this new culture, right, whether it be graffiti, dancing, emceeing, DJ. This is all part of the hip hop culture that was developed in the inner city youth and cities and things of that nature. And yes, I believe hip hop was able to help some kids channel their talent and their energy in a positive form, right? Yeah, we can all talk about, gangster hip hop and how the damage that has caused, but but I'm saying the culture that, according to African Bambaataa, right? And the legend is that he was the one that will call it the gang members to say, hey, let's deal with, with hip hop. And let's just say hypothetically he did.
Yeah.
Right. But the ironic thing is that was never his true purpose anyway. His true purpose is to position himself so he could be around those kids.
Say it again. I keep telling people.
And that's what he wanted to do.
You cannot be light.
Yeah.
You can't be light and darkness like that. Like they don't it's one or the other.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can't be light if you're violating children.
Exactly.
It doesn't add up.
So now we're going to have a guy who created this ambiance of being an activist, right? Being I saw that. Yep. Okay. Being someone is there for the kids, and he is creating this museum. He clearly has help. There's other pedophiles that are helping him, and he's using this museum that's supposed to be for good. It's supposed to be a badge of honor for people of color, Black and Latinos, because it was Black and Latinos in the hood starting this hip hop culture organically, and it became a thing. And now it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. And this asshole is taking advantage of this culture and slamming and moving around this culture to position himself to hurt kids. We got to stop it.
That should have been the happiest time of their lives. Can you imagine? This new music and dancing, and that should have been the most fun time ever. Yeah. But
they're using it for evil.
Yep.
There's no other way to describe it. Evil. And I know you got to go. I know you're busy because you're getting ready for this protest. And I know everybody's calling you. You're doing different interviews and you out there. So tell us one more time the event. Where can people find you? If you guys are listening to this channel, this information right now, usually my live streams, they sometimes go between 200 to 300, but then they record it goes up to 1,000. Take short clips of this. I give you guys permission and promote this. If you guys are looking for and dealing with, want to promote, want to get the thumbnail, want to get the poster, call me, send Leila an email, tell her, hey, I want to support. What can I do? Because this is about the children. We got to protect these children. And we talk about a good game. We talk about, doing the right thing, but we got to get away from this camera. And this is a good tool to spread information.
We got to go. We got to be with each other.
We got to get out and hit those streets. We got to hit those streets.
Way around it. It's no way around it. Yeah, but if people could share the website, the flyer is on the website, hiphopstandswithsurvivors.com, and then my YouTube channel. That's where between now and then I'll be posting a lot of updates. But those two things would be the main thing.
Okay, so I have the link in the bottom. People have it. I put it in the chat line. So click on that. Read. Get yourself informed. Mothers, fathers, please. If you got little brothers, if you got little sisters, show up. We need everybody. If nobody ever been molested in your family that you know of, still show up. Because somebody is getting molested. What is it? 1 out of 4 kids, and that's the stat. That's the number that is recorded. We don't know the numbers that's not recorded, so it could be even worse.
Right.
This is something that we need to fight fire with fire. We need a budget. We need a well-oiled, well-funded machine, because they're well-oiled, well-funded. You know, they got organization. They're meeting and plotting and trafficking and doing what they're doing. We need to be better than them and expose them and protect those children. Leila, love you. What you do?
Love you too. Thanks so much for having me here. I appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you, man. You know, anytime you need me, call me. I do. You know, I'll do anything for you, because I know you're doing good work. Keep up that good fight, and Godspeed.
Thank you. You too. And I'll talk to you soon.
Be well.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Peace.
There it is. There it is. Sister Leila in the house. She is doing God's work. And it's important, man, for us to do these things, man. You know, brothers, they are part of man going God's way. You know, part of our membership requirements, right? Membership requirements is doing community service, right? If you're in the New York area or nearby the New York area, let's talk about it. If you want to, we could rendezvous Sunday night to plan. I was thinking of even getting a hotel Sunday night so I could then land Monday morning, be there. You could maybe have a headquarter place. We could maybe meet up. So I'm gonna try to book a hotel now. Babe, remind me. So we could have like a little central command. I have to start putting the signs together and so forth, so on. We have to get excited about these things and get passionate and get angry. So definitely. Send us an email if you want to talk about this. You can send an email or a chat in my Instagram, my TikTok, or my what's the other one? TikTok, Instagram, and whatever. What's the other one? TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. There you go. So, because we need to start, making awareness and awareness, and as a Christian and me involved with the Hebrew Israelite community. Sometimes we got to, walk the walk. We could talk the talk, but sometimes we have to walk the walk, and we got to do the right thing. We got to do, and fight the good fight. And I know this is an uncomfortable conversation for many people. I know this is a thing that people sometimes, want to ignore and make believe it doesn't happen. Because you get angry, because with me, I have to say to myself, let me slow down my anger, because I just want to just get upset and start hurting people that are hurting kids. But you have to be smart, and you have to be, because that mentality only is going to burn the house. The mentality we need to have is we got to be organized. We got to be determined to fight the good fight, and bring people to justice. And that's what keeps me up alive. That's what keeps me going, because sometimes when you feel that you are powerless, there's no power. That's when people turn to violence and start you getting frustrated. But what I'm trying to convey to the people that listen to the sound of my voice is that we're not powerless. We have the power if we stand together. And this is a good fight. So let's fight together. And until the next time, let's continue bringing awareness to this conversation. Let's continue bringing just making them uncomfortable and letting them know we know what you're doing. We haven't forgot about you, and we're gonna be here today, tomorrow, next week, next year, until you stop hurting kids. Until not only now stop hurting kids, until you face the judge, until you face your judgment. Okay, and I believe the judgment for these people is under the jail. Under the jail. All right, and so until next time, may the Most High keep you and bless you. Shalom and be well.